Chapter 9. On enemy ground. Mama began to row the skiff through the harbor. Several honking geese flew past. Caroline heard sailors on a nearby schooner bellowing, "Heave, heave, heave," as they raised the sail. Perhaps they would head out to search for British ships. And we're heading out on a dangerous trip too, Caroline thought. Once they reached the open lake, Mama paused, shrugging her shoulders to ease her muscles. "The wind is perfect today," she said. Caroline lifted her head. Caroline lifted her face and tried to consider the wind against her cheeks as Papa taught her. "The breeze seems strong, but not too strong," she agreed. "Shall we set the sail?" As Caroline raised the sail, her spirits lifted too. She hadn't traveled on Lake Ontario in all the months since the British had captured Papa. In spite of her worries, being back on the water made her happy. She closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the skiff bob on the choppy water. "Papa will come home," Caroline told herself. She'd prove herself steady enough to make a good captain, and one day Papa would build a sloop just for her. The skiff rose on a little wave and then dropped again. Caroline's eyes flew open as an icy spray of water hit her face. "Try not to get splashed," Mama warned. Her cheeks were already bright red from cold. Caroline wiped her cheek with one hand. The wind that filled their sail also knifed through her cloak. This was a dangerous time of year to travel in such a small boat. If a storm blew up and swamped the little skiff, she and Mama might freeze before reaching shore or getting rescued. "I'll stay dry," Caroline promised. "Knowing that Papa built this skiff makes me feel safe. It's almost as if he's here taking care of us. Maybe Papa will soon be sailing it himself." Mama smiled. What a lovely thought. As they settled in for the long journey, Caroline found her mind bouncing between thoughts of Papa and thoughts of the quarrel she'd had with Rhonda that morning. "You can mend things with Rhonda when you get home," Caroline told herself. Still, Rhonda's comments echoed in her mind. "Mama," Caroline said finally, "Mr. Tate said you invited him to my birthday dinner." "I did," Mama said. "I want the evening to be special." Caroline heard Rhonda's voice again. "How nice that you have someone to take your father's place." "All I want is Papa home for my birthday," Caroline said. Mama's face softened. "We both want that, and I pray that he will be. But even if he isn't, we'll have a real party. Now that the Hathaways have come, there will be lots of people to celebrate your birthday." Caroline looked out over the restless water. I'd rather just have family at my birthday dinner." "I see," Mama said slowly. "Don't you like Rhonda? I thought it would be nice for you to have another girl in the house." "I don't want another girl in the house," Caroline grumbled. She felt tears threatened and blinked hard to hold them back. "And Mr. Tate can never take Papa's place." Mama looked startled. "Of course not, but today let's just think about getting Papa home, shall we?" Caroline's cheeks grew hot with embarrassment. She was determined to be helpful on this trip. Fretting about her quarrel with Rhonda wouldn't help anything. "Yes," she agreed firmly. "Let's just think about getting Papa home." The trip took all day. Mama sailed close to shore as they traveled, threading their way around islands. She landed the skiff several times on deserted beaches so that she and Caroline could stretch their legs, rub their arms for warmth, and snack on bread and apples. Caroline felt that knotted feeling in her stomach again as they reached the north shore of the St. Lawrence River. That mighty river marked the border between New York and Upper Canada. "We're in enemy territory," now, she thought. She didn't see any British ships, but she knew they must be patrolling nearby. As Caroline watched the wooded shoreline of Upper Canada glide by, she imagined Papa slipping away from his guards and hiding in the forest. Sometimes she and Mama sailed past Indian camps or little clearings where settlers had built log homes. The shelters and cabins looked no different from those Caroline knew in New York. It seemed so strange to think that the people who lived in them were likely loyal to the British. Finally, Mama said, "We're getting close to Uncle Aaron and Aunt Martha's farm. You've done well today, Caroline." Mama's praise made Caroline feel good, and she was glad she hadn't complained about the cold or her growing hunger. Still, by the time the cabin came into view a few miles east of Kingston, Caroline felt hollow and frozen to the bone. Her arms ached from helping with the oars. She used her last bit of strength to help Mama pull the skiff up on the shore. Lydia and Oliver's parents had moved their family to Upper Canada a few years before the war began, when the border between the two countries hardly seemed to matter at all. Caroline knew they'd worked hard to build their small cabin and clear a few acres to farm. Twilight was falling as Caroline and Mama hurried into the yard. "It seems very quiet," Mama murmured. Caroline looked around. The clearing seemed deserted. "Oh no," she thought with dismay. "What will we do if no one is home?" Mama strode to the front door and knocked. A curtain over the front window twitched as if somebody was peeping out. Mama knocked again. "Aaron," she called, "it's your sister." The door finally opened and Uncle Aaron appeared. Caroline had never been so glad to see her uncle. "Come inside quickly," he said. His tone was hushed, and his gaze darted nervously about the empty farmyard. Caroline followed him and Mama into the cabin. Lydia hurried forward and crushed Caroline into a hug. "We've got news," Mama said. "Oliver is free. He arrived at our house yesterday." Aunt Martha caught her breath and her eyes filled with tears. Uncle Aaron whispered, "God be praised." Lydia squeezed Caroline's hand. Then Uncle Aaron cleared his throat. "It's wonderful to see you both, and we want to hear more. But first, did you sail over?" "Our skiff is down at the beach," Caroline said. "We'll have to hide it," Uncle Aaron said. "Martha, Lydia, come help with the boat. Caroline, you stay here and warm up." Lydia followed her parents and Mama outside. Alone in the cabin, Caroline shivered with fear as much as cold. Why was Uncle Aaron acting so strange? And why was he so worried about the skiff? She sank into a stool by the big hearth and stared at the crackling flames. A kettle of stew bubbled over the fire. The room smelled of cider vinegar, hickory smoke, venison, and molasses pie. Caroline breathed in the comforting harvest time scents.